I wanted to get your take on why you think this is so prevalent on college campuses. What do you think the future of the universities in the United States looks like?
Elon Musk and Ben Shapiro visited the Auschwitz Museum. They visited the site of Auschwitz, and then there is a museum there. And they talked a bit about what has led to this now, I would say, pushback against some of the craziness that we've been illustrating lately.
Now, the crossover between some of these rallies on college campuses in favor of Hamas, I mean, they unite the weirdest coalitions maybe in human history. You'll see LGBTQ flags in favor of Hamas, where, of course, if an LGBTQ person were to be actually in the Gaza Strip, they would no longer be in the Gaza Strip, they would be dead.
Yes, exactly.
And that coalition is...
That's like seriously out of touch.
Yeah. But it isn't, but it only isn't out of touch in the sense that there is a coalitional idea here that basically power structures must be torn down at all costs, and if that means allying with people who hate me, then I'll ally with people who hate me. And the fact that that's grown in fervor since October 7th really is, as I said to me, on a personal level, quite shocking. What do you make of the future of a West if the West continues to embrace that idea?
Well, I think we really need to stop this principle that the weaker, normally weaker party is always right. This is simply not true. If you are, in quotes, oppressed or the weaker party, it doesn't mean you're right. Because if some of those, weaker groups want to annihilate you, that does not make them good. We have to get rid of the rule that if you're weaker, you're automatically good. That's obviously makes no sense. It often makes sense where it's like, okay, you don't want to beat up on someone smaller and weaker than you, but if that smaller group wants to kill you, they're bad. Okay. I'm a big believer in moral absolutism, not moral relativism. There's good and bad in the absolute, and you judge any group or individual against absolute moral standards, not whether they're the so-called oppressed or oppressor, just on absolute moral terms. Are they doing good things? Do they want to murder innocent people? That's bad. It doesn't matter who they are.
You would think, but the pseudo-sophisticates on college campus seem to think differently. And so I wanted to get your take on why you think this is so prevalent on college campuses. What do you think the future of the universities in the United States looks like, given the fact that entire universities appear to have been corrupted by moral relativism and this sort of perverse ideology? Do you think that a wave of change is coming to the universities? Do you think that there's going to be direct hiring out of high school? What is the solution for universities in the United States as well as abroad?
I think we need to return to where things were, or mostly were, which is a focus on merit, and it doesn't matter whether you're a man, woman, what race you are, what beliefs you have. What matters is, how good are you at your job, or what are your skills? You could be a three-legged green Martian, wears a kimono and drinks yak's milk. Who cares? It doesn't matter. What matters is how good is your work. That's it. That's the least sort of racist, sexist you can be. Is just care about the work that somebody does and not anything else. That's what the focus needs to be to return to. Yeah.
It's interesting because Elon, for as absolutely brilliant as he is, it's like one of, I think, his main skills is saying sort of complex things in very simple ways. Like he uses very simple language there. Just because you are the perceived weaker group, in this case, the Palestinians, it does not mean you are good. No matter what your perceived oppression is, again, perceived oppression, you are not allowed to burn babies alive and put them into ovens. You are not allowed to rape women and murder men, women, and children in just the most unthinkable possible ways. That does not make you good or just. But unfortunately, that is what much of the modern left now believes. And then, as Ben points out, they created this crazy coalition of people, LGBT people for Palestine, gays for Palestine, which of course is very different than Palestine for gays. Like you think about it, if you're a Hamas fighter somewhere in Gaza right now, and you're seeing on Twitter, because they still do have electricity, you're seeing on Twitter some genderqueer weirdo in Berkeley cheering you on. Like, think how absolutely hilarious you must think that is. But they thought, the left thought, they could take all of these people, they could remove all of our individuality, which is the most important thing about us, that you have thoughts, you have an ability to ration and think about the world and reason and then put that into action. They thought they could remove all that and then just say, oh, you're Palestinian, so you're oppressed. You're queer, so you're oppressed. You're black, so you're oppressed. And then what are we going to do? We're going to combine all of you. Like we're combining a whole bunch of Transformers into a much bigger, powerful robot. And that will be the thing that basically destroys the West. But because of the sheer barbarity of October 7th, they are starting to realize that a lot of people are seeing through the nonsense.